Now we'll discuss how to open up an image inside of Photoshop. And once we do that, then we can proceed in how to work with that image and manipulate it to the best of our abilities. First and foremost, what we're going to need to do is to access an image. Well, you'll notice that in the File menu, you can try to open a file, and do take note, Control-O is the shortcut for open. And if we were to do that, I could direct you to go to your C drive, and in your C drive, find your program files, and in the Adobe program files, you'll see Photoshop CS2. In Photoshop CS2, you'll see samples, and you can work with any of the samples that you see here. For the moment, we can take a sample, Ducky. That's a perennial favorite in Photoshop. So as you can see here, we've got Ducky in place. And at this point, we can manipulate this image, do different things to it. But as you probably have noted, there was only a few select images that you were able to access in the sample folder. However, Adobe does give you something that you can work with as well. If you go to File Browse instead of File Open, and the shortcut for that is the same as before except adding the Alt or Option key. So if I were to access File Browse, sometimes it might take a little bit of time. So now that we've got Adobe Bridge activated, as you can see here, Adobe Bridge is a product that allows you to have access to other Adobe applications as well as different files that are available on your desktop, among other things. But what I want to draw your attention to is to the Adobe Stock Photos. And if you access the Adobe Stock Photos, what it will do is open up. And what that does is open up the Adobe Stock Photos. And as you can see here, you'll have access to stock photographs that you can use for your work. At this moment, you'll recognize, and you might be asking yourself, is this a free thing? Can I use this photo in any kind of project? Well, these are comping images, and comping images in the graphic design industry, we produce a comp or a composition to provide to our clients in order for them to approve how the project is running along. At that point, you can use these files, and it's not going to be for commercial purposes yet. But if that file has been approved, and if you're going to use that photograph in your final project for some commercial purpose, then certainly you would have to have your client pay for that photograph. Now, for our purposes, and as Adobe makes clear, we can use these just for testing out some images, and we'll be able to use them as comping images. If we use them for commercial purposes, then we must pay for these. So if you were to do a search on something like a dog, you'll recognize that it's acquiring some of these images, and depending on your connection speed, you may have this come up faster or slower. So if, for example, you needed a picture of a dog, something like this cute little puppy right here, you can double click that image. And that'll open up the image details. As you can see here, the pricing for those images and the different ways that you can do it. But if you download the comp or download the composition, you'll notice that there's a downloaded comps folder that you can save this file to. It has been saved at that specific location. You can view that folder as well. And as you can see here, it accesses the downloaded comps that we saw there before. And notice you can just drag this into Photoshop, and there's your comp image that you can start working with as well. So those are some of the features that you can be using. Remember, you can just file open any file that's on your computer, and you can also browse for the files on your computer, as well as browsing through the Adobe stock photos. And it'll allow you a number of different images that you'll be able to work with.